I declare open this congregation for the conferment of degrees. By the authority of the University of Bristol, vested in my office, I admit the candidates presented and commended to the degrees awarded to them.
Mr. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I present to you candidates and commend to you those recorded as in absentia to whom degrees in the Faculty of Engineering have been awarded. The degree of Bachelor of Engineering in Electrical and Electronic Engineering with first-class honours, Jin Tao Liu. Hakim Habib. Shengjun Ren. Yen Yen. Philip Bruland. Jia Hui Chen. Zhua Chen. Thomas Farmer. Rachel Ferguson. Valentine Gannis. Minheng Guan. Ki-an Hua. Sopri Iketubosin. Charles Jackson. Jinyi Lee. Alexander Nikolai. John Parker. Simon Teague. Yanfeng Wang. Ruwa Yang. Wajing Yin. Hongyung Zhan. Bachelor of Engineering, Mingdo Liao. In Electronic and Communications and Engineering with first-class honours, Zhen-U Li. With honours, Joseph Brown. In Engineering Design, with honours, Akintunde Duyal. In engineering mathematics with first-class honours, Christopher Balla. Jacob Chan. Juning Deng. Alexander Pan Liliu. With honours, Phoebe Alden. Oliver Bates. Elise Billings-Evans. Stuart de Havilland Gray. Emma Durant. Benjamin Goss. Megan Harrison. Luke Manson. Sine Omani. Jinwang Wang. Liam White. The degree of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science with first-class honours, Adnan Abdul Hussein. Stephen Gilligan. Giles Lavelle. Joseph Larinovich. Lawrence Steele. Benjamin Tovar Matthews. Andrew Provan. With honours, James Barrow. Kai Hammond. Joel Matthews. Jack McRae. Fraser McQueen Govan. Hannah Oliver. Andrew Pride. Christian Wyke. Wei Yan. In Mathematics and Computer Science, with honours, Ross McQuillan. Tara Mead. Joshua Turicki. Shi Chen Zhao. The degree of Master of Engineering in Computer Science with first-class honours, Andres Amaya Garcia. Charles Anderson. Jonathan Andrew. Benjamin Barash. Derek Becko. David Belcher. Stephen De Mora. Ethan Katzenberg. Majay Kuorek. Charles McNeil. Adam Mooney. Dominic Moylette. Min Nguyen. Dennis Ogan. James Pedlingham. Nicholas Phillips. Thomas Rumsey. Thomas Richanovsky. Varun Sarwal. James Savage. Daniel Smith. Ashley Wetter. Michael Ray. With honours, Christian Senatescu. Thomas Charlesworth. William Kolaluka. Alexandru Gabriel Dumitrescu. Helena Ford. Joshua Hargreaves. Guy Howcroft. Yanis Keidulis. Thomas Knott. Ricky McGeehan. Luke Milton. Thomas Mortensen. Krista Mpundu. Anki Mukherjee. Adam Renak. Claudio Oktan Ivan Suare. Petro Thurin. Ioannis Trumpis. In computer science and electronics, with honours, Akin Arabol. Victors Sinkarevs. Danu Sura Surang. In computer science, with study abroad, with first-class honours, Dominique Litsitsan. Aidan Thompson. In electrical and electronic engineering, with first-class honours, Toralup Akanbi Onas Anya. Daniel Richard Eels. Pooja Munkar. Songbai Wang. With honours, Nicholas Borton. Jonathan Bowes. Julian Charjecki. Tiffany Huey Yi Chan. Jayan Gupta. Michalis Karamanos. Mikhail Kozlovsky. Scott Nugent. Adam Perrott. Stavros Tipos. Antonis Vafeus. In electronic and communications engineering, with first-class honours, Jonathan Hughes. Jamie MacDonald. Siddharth Sharma. Shreya Tandon. With honours, Martin Dick. Joshua Jacobs. Adam Jones. Sanyana Narang. Divyenath Sharma. Priyanashi Srivastava. Jethro White. In engineering design, with study in industry, with first-class honours, James Brown. Christopher Guest. Tim Hanks. Joseph Jarman. Andres Colby. Pavel Kowalski. Hamish Hay. Fiona Marsden. Alexander Maxwell. Alexander McPherson. Roger Morehouse. Thomas Rosier. Alexis Story. Joseph Webber. Oliver Whittington Roy. With honours, Arnold Pockman Chueng. William Dane. Sam Harrison. Mark McCurdy. Angeli Rudy. Hannah Simmons. Alexander Waldron. In engineering mathematics with first-class honours, Amy Bruce Gardner. Andrew Clark. Robert East. Thomas Eggington. Zoe Goss. Max Jacobs. William Tabut. Claire Turl. Simon Webber. Faye Benedict. Simon Godwin. Oliver James. Bettina Rogers. Christopher Sheriff. Harvey Timms. Hannah Wood. Karen Yue. In engineering mathematics with study abroad with honours, Lucinda Chambers. Mark Anthony Herr. Owen McCarthy. Mark Mitchinson. In mathematics and computer science, with first-class honours, Gajeta Jinsha. Laura Gray. Peter Morley. Nicholas Tutt. With honours, Kakper Sakal. The degree of Master of Science in Advanced Computing, Binny Lee. Alistair Venn. In Advanced Computing Creative Technology, Nina Williams. In Advanced Computing Internet Technologies with Security, Konstantanis Konstantaniou. Julia Metocci. Abhishek Mitra. In Advanced Computing, Machine Learning, Data Mining and High Performance Computing, Hannah Ann Gandhi. Nicole Xu Xuanyao. Nian Xiao. Sandeep Sandhu. The degree of Master of Science jointly awarded by the University of Bristol and the University of the West of England in robotics, Elham Hamid. The degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Stuart Carswell. Henry Giddens. Jack Greenow. David Hanwell. Nikolai Hwetting. Robert Hunt. Martha Lewis. Huanlu Li. Luke Mather. Michael Meadows. Bijan Rahim Zaidar Roi Fui. Rosalind Sandwell. Adam Sada. Daniel Sheen. Jonathan Serugunda. Satviga Sudhaha. David Tancock. Thomas Todd. Yang Zhang.
It's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Andrew Garrett as our guest speaker this afternoon. Andrew is an engineering science graduate of Oxford University and has a PhD from the University of Exeter in theoretical fluid mechanics. And he was awarded an honorary doctorate in engineering by this university in 2009. He's a wind energy pioneer. Over 30 years ago, he co-founded the Garrett Hassan Group, which grew to be the world's largest renewable energy consultancy. In that time, he has also been president of the European Wind Energy Association and chairman of the British equivalent. In 2006, he received the European Wind Energy Association's Poule de la Cour Prize for outstanding achievement in the field, and in 2015, he received the equivalent Aeolus Prize from the Hellenic Wind Energy Association. As you'll hear, Andrew is presently chairman of the Bristol 2015 company, the delivery vehicle for Bristol as the European Green Capital. I'm delighted that he's agreed to address you today, our newest graduates. Andrew.
Mr. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, thank you very much. First, I think I must start with just congratulations to all of you. And it's a real privilege, I think, to sit up here and see everybody experience what I think is really a rite of passage. So thank you for having me here. I'm an engineer. You're supposed to cheer. I hope that the computer scientists amongst you will, for today, agree to be engineers. You are in the Faculty of Engineering. I'm particularly envious of a small group of you, so those of you who are graduating in engineering mathematics. But that's almost the perfect degree for me, but there's one bettered only by this little group here, I think in the fifth row, which is engineering mathematics with a year abroad. I've spent 30 years running an international business. I had offices in 29 countries, and every day, I was humbled by the linguistic abilities of my foreign colleagues. And if you don't already speak a second language, then learn one now. There may be a few of you who are not quite sure what you're going to do after today, and if there are those of you there, then I suggest you use that bit of time to get a second language or even a third language. It'll stand you in very good stead professionally, but I think also culturally and socially it'll open up a whole new dimension. So, maths is a universal language, and it's the glue that sticks together engineering and science, even a little bit of social science, maybe, if you want to be flexible. I've built a global business on mathematical modeling, or rather, I've used mathematical modeling to build a business in renewable energy, so modeling renewable energy systems. And wind energy in particular. I built my first windmill when I was 18, which I regret to say is 43 years ago. It didn't last very long, but it did set the course of my professional life. In the early 80s, I learned a very important lesson. As a young sort of startup company, I guess, we got our first job in California, and we were asked to retrofit a wind farm which had been equipped with very floppy American blades, and they had all failed. So we were asked to replace them, and we replaced those blades with really good, stiff British blades. All went well. And 6 months later, I called my client, who was called, strangely, Mr. Zebedee, and I said to him, how are the blades? And he said, well, the blades are fine, but all the towers have failed. And this was a seminal moment for me because, this is a bit of an engineering indulgence, this little bit of the talk, I suppose, but it told me that this system was a coupled system. So if you tamper with the blades, you tamper with the whole thing. And therefore, it showed the need for a comprehensive mathematical model. Well, that was 30 years ago, and 30 years ago, I could carry on my own one of those blades. Now, the biggest windmill in the world, which incidentally we designed here in Bristol, has a swept area, so the area swept by the blades as they're rotating, the size of 3 Wembley Stadium football grounds. You're meant to be very impressed by that, by the way. And I can no longer carry the blade. You know? But that also, I think, shows just how important it is to be able to accurately predict what happens in real life. Again, the art of engineering and the power of mathematics. The intellectual satisfaction of that whole process, I think, is extraordinary. So just think of the process which you go through. You abstract from a huge physical system, a complicated and huge physical system, a set of differential equations. You solve those differential equations. Out of that comes engineering answers. And in my case, somebody else, fortunately, made the measurements always. And then you put the two together, and you find by some magical trick, these two things agree. And that is an extraordinary satisfaction. And the intellectual steps involved in that process are something which I think you should reflect on. And that's something which has taken me, certainly, through the last 3 decades of engineering with continued enthusiasm. Well, enough of that technical indulgence. I count myself as being extraordinarily lucky to have found a career which is technically demanding and satisfying, is expanding dramatically all over the world, also financially rewarding, of course, but ultimately thoroughly worthwhile. And I've seen this industry grow from nothing to being a major contributor to our energy needs here in the UK, Europe, and around the world. So last year, in 2014, renewables produced 19% of our electricity. Just a tad more, this is with some satisfaction for me, just a tad more than the conventional nuclear industry. 15 years ago, there was nothing. Now, that is a remarkable feat, and I think a clear example of engineers rising to a challenge which is put before them. In this case, decarbonising our electricity production. But this is not just a technical transformation. It's also, I think, the beginnings or the reflection of a bigger social change which is taking place. So in energy terms, it's the end of big central power stations. The Dutch word for power station is centraal, and that says it all, I think. We are now dealing with diversified generation, distributed generation, connected by the grid, of course, to loads all over the place. But I think this is an interesting change. It's a change also in which the public can participate and have a view. Of course, the view is not always positive for my constituency, I realise that. But there's a changing nature of our energy production, and I believe that could be reflected in other parts of our society as well. Perhaps this is the energy equivalent of social media. Things are changing. I'm proud to be an engineer, and after 40 years of practice, I'm still excited at what we can achieve. But I think we are still very reactive. We are by our very nature practical. We are by our very nature good at formulating solutions to problems, but we should also be formulating the problems ourselves. We should not be leaving that to a whole bunch of people who happen to have PPE degrees. There are 6 MPs in Westminster who have engineering degrees, one of whom, I believe, is a practicing engineer. In the State Council in China, half their members are engineers. So we should be setting the agenda rather than just responding to it. And I think you could be part of a new agenda-setting generation of engineers. Our position would be greatly enhanced by a better gender mix. And although I think there is a gradual change taking place, there's not a great deal of evidence here today of that. I would nevertheless like to spend a special congratulatory message to the female graduates today. Your profession needs you, and it's extraordinary that at the moment we only tap into roughly half or perhaps 60% of the potential engineering talent that we have in this country. Incidentally, the new president of the Royal Academy of Engineering, Dame Anne Dowling, is, as her name suggests, a woman. So the most senior engineer in our country is female, and that's got to be a good step in the right direction. So standing here in 2015 in Bristol, I do have to refer to Bristol's year as European Green Capital. And I was introduced by the Deputy Vice-Chancellor as the chair. It's a great honour for me to be the chair of that operation. It's also a great honour for Bristol to have that accolade. It follows in the stead of Copenhagen, Stockholm, and Hamburg. So a pretty good list to be on. And the university has supported this effort with great gusto and support. So thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, for that support. In this city, there's a strong sense of environmental idealism. There's also a large body of expertise and experience in the university itself, but also in the city and in the surroundings. But there's also a huge range of wealth here. Sustainability is not just about the physical attributes of the environment, it's also about social justice. And in this city, a mile of separation in your address, it can mean you have an 8-year difference in life expectancy, which is a pretty painful reflection on the state of our city. I think Bristol is a fantastic place to be, and I hope you feel very much privileged to have spent 3 or 5 years, whatever it is, here as a student. I hope also you will go out around the world singing the praises of Bristol, but perhaps in the back of your mind also keep in mind the issue of social justice. Part of our program this year is Bristol 2015 is an industrial showcase which we called Venture Fest. That took place in the engine shed down by the Temple Meads railway station. And we had about 1,600 people there, 120 companies exhibiting, designed to show off Bristol's green industry. Some very green, some greenish, becoming greener. And in there were a couple of really interesting things I saw. I saw, first of all, big companies talking to tiny companies, software talking to hardware, deep green companies talking to people who are just starting that journey to green their industry. But perhaps of particular relevance here for this event, Airbus exhibited a model of an aeroplane that they're building this year, which is an electrical aeroplane driven by batteries, being built by 6 apprentices and 6 youngish engineers here in Filton. And it's the first step towards low or perhaps even zero carbon aviation. It's a symbol of how big industry and big technology is taking those first steps towards addressing this huge problem of greening our planet. Beside that model, there was also a particularly thrilling thing to see, which was the first 3D printed bicycle. And I thought, wow, what a fantastic contribution from 2 local companies, an electric plane and a printed bicycle in the engine shed. Really exciting, and done here in Bristol. Now, climate change is, I think, almost universally acknowledged as being perhaps the most important, I think the most important issue which our society presently has to address. But communicating the importance of this problem is in itself a huge problem. I see, if you mention climate change, you can see people's heads drooping. You can see climate change fatigue. It's a common problem. The very word green turns people off. And I'm trying to do my best with this special tie. This is meant to encourage you. But nevertheless, I'm very much aware that it's not a fashionable, not an exciting prospect. It's a threat. Now, I'm an optimist. I'm an engineer and I'm an optimist. And I would like to turn that threat, or those threats, into opportunities, into challenges for your generation, and in particular for your generation of engineers. It could be fun to solve difficult and important problems, and I think life must be fun. So this huge issue which we are addressing now should not be considered only as a threat. It should also be considered as an opportunity. My generation has started, albeit I have to say rather feebly, to address this problem, and now you here must take on that mantle, not as an obligation, but also as an opportunity. Now, you are at a decision point in your lives. Before the recession, many people in your position, engineering graduates, or numerate graduates generally, were tempted by the wiles of the city. And I'm pleased to say that I've now witnessed a migration, albeit a fairly slow migration, back to what I would call the physical professions. And that's a very healthy sign. Over and over again, I've witnessed the engineering profession, now you, rising to the challenges posed to them. I gave you the example of decarbonising our electricity industry, but there are many others. And that's done with extraordinary ingenuity, and incidentally, the Latin root of the word ingenuity and engineer is the same, ingenium. We engineers, and you in particular, must take a leading role in shaping the future of our society. So, I finish by challenging you with your newfound engineering degrees to green our society, locally, nationally, and globally, and in at least 2 languages. Thank you.
Many thanks, Andrew. New graduates, family and friends, honoured guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, the formal part of the congregation is now over, and all that remains for me to do is to call proceedings to a close. It's traditional, however, that we stop for a few minutes at this point to reflect on what we have just seen and done. Let me begin by introducing myself. My name is Guy Orpen. As you've heard, I'm the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of the University, and it's my privilege to preside over the degree ceremony this afternoon. And very belatedly, can I say welcome to all of you here present. You, our newest graduates, your families, friends, supporters who have come to Bristol today from far and wide to join in this event. You're all most welcome to this, the Great Hall of the University, a historic scene of many a warm graduation day and tense examination. Indeed, as we mark the 50th anniversary of the death of our former Chancellor, Winston Churchill, it's interesting to remember that this is also the scene of some legendary graduations in the blitzed shell of the building in the 1940s. This is a famous day in the lives of those of you that are graduating, one on which to be proud of the achievement that the award of your degree represents, and an opportunity for us all to celebrate that achievement, both here and in a host of ways around the ceremony. During the formal part, we've had a chance to congratulate each of you in turn, sometimes boisterously, occasional whistle, always with pride, which is both right and proper and richly deserved. Notably, honorary graduates, such as Andrew, exemplify the values of the institution and demonstrate the heights to which you, today's graduates, can aspire. Indeed, you've been instructed to aspire. Thank you, Andrew. With that in mind, I think we might also take the opportunity to acknowledge other contributions of 2 other groups of people to today's events. Firstly, the families and friends of the graduates. All you new graduates will acknowledge that their contributions have been critical in providing the moral, personal, and indeed financial support underpinning your successful studies. So please join with me in thanking both those here present and those others not here today for their many contributions to your successful graduation. And secondly, those of you who are graduating today have been taught and tutored by academic staff, such as those behind me, and helped by a host of other professional services staff in your labs, offices, libraries, halls of residence and such like. Staff who in all manner of ways have provided the environment in which you've learned and lived, including those that have run today's ceremony with their customary exemplary efficiency. Again, I'd ask that we acknowledge their contribution. In these rapidly changing times for society, and English universities in particular, it's more important than ever to remember and cherish the enduring values that inform this university and the special character of the education we seek to offer our students, this Bristol education, and the resultant degree that you, our newest graduates, take into the world with you. So I'd like to spend a few minutes to consider the character of that Bristol education and this university in which it has taken place. I'd argue, having worked here for about a third of its life, that this is a university that both evolves and adapts and stays rooted to its core values: truth, innovation, excellence, and equity. While the world has changed dramatically in the century and more since the university was founded, the values of the university remain undimmed. The central mission for our university is still to pursue and share knowledge and understanding, both for their own sake and to help individuals and society fulfill their potential. To this end, we actively promote and deliver a deep and challenging education to you, our students, to develop capability of mind that we hope will fit you for a wide range of opportunities still to come. You might say that learning to learn and to do so independently and in your own way is at the very heart of a Bristol education, and it's intended to equip you to take on the challenges you'll face in futures that we cannot yet even imagine. Our university is based on great scholarship, the process of generating and curating knowledge that is at the heart of a research-intensive university. It means that our leading researchers teach and learn from so doing, I might say, and that you as students research and practice your disciplines, and so understand what it is to do your subjects, and thereby learn more deeply. Learning at university is not just lectures and libraries and seminars and labs and tutorials and the like. You will have learned informally from and been stimulated by a whole range of people, not least your fellow students, some of whose lives will have differed very markedly from your own. This is at the heart of why we value diversity at Bristol, because we believe it enriches and adds value and learning to the experience of our students and staff, and so prepares you better to enjoy and succeed in our globalized and ever-changing world. Your life here will have involved formation of character. I'm sure many of you will have had experiences and developed relationships that will inform and shape your lives in ways that you will value for decades to come. I know I did, as a graduate of a very different university, Cape Town, and a very different time, the 1970s. Incredibly far away, before mobile phones, the internet, and at least in South Africa, television, but involving protest, beaches, and a whole lot of fun. Another time. It's sobering to contemplate the relative simplicity of life a generation or two ago and the scale and variety of knowledge that society now expects you to acquire while you're a student. Not only just to acquire, but analyze, synthesize, and use knowledge that allows you to address the complexity and diversity of the modern world. It's enormously to your credit that you have risen to the challenge so well and graduated today. Finally, while here, you have lived life as a citizen of Bristol, our fantastic city, in the words of our speaker. You will have had a rich variety of interactions with your fellow citizens, not least through the engagement of many of you with a host of student volunteering groups and activities that are such an enormous credit to the university and particularly to you, the student body. As a university, we are both affected by the city we are at the heart of and in turn affect it. Strikingly, the first ever elected mayor of Bristol, George Ferguson, is a graduate of this university, and his very first words at his swearing-in ceremony were, "I came to Bristol in 1965 to study at the University of Bristol and have never left." Indeed, he has stayed, and he's shaped the city ever since. Turning to the place of this university in society, we're a university that welcomes the high expectation of today's society for the ideas and the people that universities such as ours produce. They can allow us to address the great challenges facing society by offering both new ideas and solutions and the people to deliver them. Furthermore, society rightly expects us to be active players, not only in discovery, but deployment of those ideas, by working directly with communities, industry, and government here and around the world. In this too, we both innovate and act. So today we run the anchor presence in the city's science park, and in its enterprise zone, we run the engine shed that Andrew referred to as a hub for a start-up businesses, inward investment, and the city's innovation community. The university plays a vital role in the life of our city. Of course, we're a big employer, and we're literally building and rebuilding our campus right at in the city centre, spending over £500 million in a decade so doing. And naturally, our students and staff are at the heart of the intellectual and cultural life of the city, as exemplified by the festivals of social sciences and arts that take place here each autumn. Today is an opportunity for me, on behalf of the university, to wish you well in the next stage of your life. Whatever lies ahead for you, I hope you will feel better equipped for the time you've spent in Bristol. And as graduates and alumni of this university, you're entering our Convocation and Alumni Association. In so doing, you join a community of over 100,000 strong. and that I hope you will find of practical value, support and enjoyment in the years to come, and a platform for you to continue to support and engage with the university and its communities. When you return to the university in future years, as an alum or as a student for another degree, a parent, or even an honorary graduate as distinguished as today's speaker, I hope and expect that you will find us as we are today, in robust form and true to the values and commitment to service exemplified by your achievements. I would like to close by thanking you, our newest graduates, for your contribution to the university. Students are the beating heart of a university. You make the working life of those of us lucky enough to be employed here an enormous pleasure and privilege, and contribute to the perennial renewal of university life. I hope that your time here, and especially this day, are a source of pride and pleasure to you in the future, just as you are today a source of pride to the university. With that thought, I declare this congregation closed.